So, as we discuss this, I want to bring up a full screen because the boffins in the background have been busy building. Nice alliteration there with the teams that are still left to play for Liverpool, for Arsenal, and for Manchester City. Now, the crux of all this, we're going to go from 4 to 1. Who's going to be in the top 4 in ascending order? So, you look at those fixtures, Luis Miguel, and you see Spurs against Liverpool, against Arsenal, and against Man City. You see Aston Villa against Liverpool, against Arsenal, and against Manchester City. Looking at that, who do you reckon has got the easier run-in out of the three, and who's got the hardest?
Well, out of those three that we're looking at, the title chasers in Liverpool, Arsenal, and Man City, I can tell you that from those remaining 9 matches, for Liverpool, 5 of them are against teams in the bottom half of the table. City have 4 against teams at the bottom half of the table, and Arsenal only 3. And I think, MD, that has a massive statement in what's going to happen. If, obviously, on paper, things go right the way that they want it to be, which most often than not, it happens. But I have to believe that the strength of schedule is going to be a major determinant here. And I also think, by the way, that Bayern Munich for Arsenal and Real Madrid for Manchester City will have a say. I think Liverpool can handle Atalanta in the Europa League easier than what Man City can handle Real Madrid, as well as Arsenal can handle Bayern Munich. So I think that overwhelming side of scheduling when the Champions League and Europa League comes in will be a factor. But from that schedule, that Premier League schedule, Liverpool have the easier run-in when you compare it to what's happening to the teams bottom on the side of the table. And listen, Arsenal fans, I believed in you for a very long time, and I still kind of do, but I've been reflecting on this, Mark Donaldson, and I think getting nothing or just 1 point against Manchester City was probably not the best thing. Had they won that, I would have been more confident of it. Now, granted, not losing it is fantastic, but I think that Liverpool, buoyed by the fact that they want to give Jurgen Klopp a good send-off, I think all stars are aligning for Liverpool winning this.
I think it was a difficult one for Arsenal at the weekend because a point's a good result at the Etihad, but we're so far out now. There's still 9 games to go after that one that you don't really know that if you do push forward and try and win it, you could open the door at the other end and ultimately lose it, and that would be even worse. So, yeah, so that's the fixtures from now. We'll get to who we think is going to win the title shortly. Normally, it's who's going to finish in the top 4. This year, the likelihood is that 5th place, because of the extra 2 Champions League spots, England will get one of those. So 4th and 5th, is it a straight battle between Villa and Spurs? And if so, who gets 4th?
The answer to the first part of that is yes. It's a straight up battle between Tottenham and Aston Villa. And it's difficult to figure it out from just a purely statistical perspective because Aston Villa continue to suffer with injuries. 3 ACLs this season. John McGinn suspension for 3 matches, as well as Ollie Watkins right now unavailable. But you have to rely on the fact that what you see on the pitch under Unai Emery remains a more consistent notion than sometimes the reliance of having to score a stoppage time winner for Tottenham. I mean, you look at the way that they just about beat Luton Town a few matches ago. They got that draw against West Ham, even though it could have gone either way. So I'm going to go with Aston Villa getting 4th place. And I'm telling you this without any bias, without putting my heart in it right now. I want Villa to get a Champions League. Of course I do. But from a statistical perspective, from what I'm seeing from Unai Emery the entire season, no excuses. Just go out there and deliver. I think that Villa will get this done and get 4th place.
I like the fact that it's likely that Villa and Spurs will both get Champions League because I think they deserve it next season. But I think, like you, Villa will finish 4th. Okay, 3-2-1 in the Premier League. Start at 3 and then give me your champions at the end.
Okay, so let's go with 3rd. As I started midway through what we were chatting about, I believed in Mikel Arteta and this young Arsenal side for almost the entirety of this campaign. But I think Arsenal, unfortunately, once Bayern Munich comes in and gives them a little bit of a headache midweek in terms of the deepening and the health of their squad, I have them in 3rd place. I think that when you look at the remaining schedule and the fact that they only have to play 3 teams below the top 10, a lot of them are going still for European competition. And of course, they still have to face some tough battles. I'm going with Arsenal in 3rd. You want me to go to 2nd or should we wait?
I'll go Arsenal in 3rd as well. So that leaves us with Liverpool and Manchester City. Which order do you have them finishing?
Again, because of the Champions League, and I think, and I know we're going to talk about this in a minute, Real Madrid are going to give Manchester City a bit of a headache, and I think that's going to be a determinant. I'm going with Manchester City in second. They do not win the Premier League this season.
Disagree. I've got
So we're
City.
flipping it.
Yeah.
Tell me why.
They've been there.
Mm-hmm.
They know how to get it done. It's the whole, when you're looking at horses in a horse race, there's a little C and a D beside their name. That means course and distance. It means they know how to win at that venue.
The French chatter, basically. Yeah.
Liverpool have won it before. Don't get me wrong, but Salah could have had 6 goals at the weekend. He'll get there. Don't get me wrong, and I'd rather he was creating or getting the chances to take. But City have just got better players, and if City's best is evident, it's better than Liverpool and it's better than Arsenal. And I like their running. I think they've got the easiest of the 3. Now, yes, they've got some tough games in there. They play Spurs and Villa as well. But if they get the 3 points against an Ollie Watkins-less Villa today, that's one of the big games, the hard games, the important games out the way. So yeah. I just think City are better. And I think Erling Haaland will score quite a few goals between now and the end of the season. I think it'll be close. And I love the fact we've got 3 teams that are battling, and it's not just a head-to-head until April and then the title's won. But would it surprise me if Liverpool won the title? No, not at all. Not at all. But for me, City, if they show that they are the best team by the way that they play, I don't see how Liverpool get the better of them.
Yeah, I hope that our producer Rob Moore puts on, or Sam puts on that schedule again, because I think that, here we go, because I think that a few things. One, we already talked about the 5 teams that Liverpool have to face below 10th place, but you make a very good point about, which was my friend's argument, which is if you've been there before and you know what to do and you have the killer instinct, that's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. Tonight, for City, this Villa game is absolutely massive. You would think that Palace, they'll take care of it. Luton, they'll take care of it. Tottenham away, that's a big, big game. Brighton away, well, Brighton are not as good as they were at the moment. Forest are usually good at home, but I think by then it'll be done. Wolves the same, Fulham the same, West Ham the same. So really, once again, Villa and Tottenham, who have to play all 3 of these teams, basically determine the Premier League title, MD. That's basically what we're saying here.
I was looking at the last 4 for Manchester City, and I always find it at this stage of the season, you get some funky results. You get your Sheffield United or your Luton or your Burnley winning games that you're not expected to win, games that they wouldn't win earlier in the season, but games that they now have to win. I don't know who that'll be against, but it's going to happen. It always happens. The 4 that City have got, the last 4 games that City have got, are teams that don't really have much to play for. Look at that. Forest away. Yeah, they've got something to play for, but City should beat Forest away. Wolves at home. Again, they'll win that one. Fulham away. Right now, Fulham look like they're on the beach.
Yeah.
Whereas if Liverpool, 35.
Yeah. Whereas if Liverpool want to win this, they've got Tottenham and Villa in the last 4 as well.
So the point is, if Manchester City are within a point or 2, or even level with Arsenal and Liverpool at the top of the table or just behind going into the last 4, for me, Manchester City win the title.
Hey, by the way, Rob Moore wants me to ask you, where do you think Hearts would finish in the Premier League?
Oh, yeah. You know what? I've had this argument for 30 years, not about Hearts, but about Rangers and Celtic. Where would Rangers and Celtic finish in the Premier League? If it's a level playing field, if they're getting the money that these teams are getting, Rangers and Celtic comfortably would be in the top half. Hearts would be pushing for a playoff place in the Championship.